So ladies and gentlemen, for the last 2 years, we have hosted a competition to find the most inspirational young CAs. And the One Young CA competition searches to find the best and brightest in the profession. Not just someone who's done great things in their day job, but someone who can see beyond the numbers and use their CA skills for the greater good. Now, we've asked the winner this year to come and address you today. Now, Jonny was named One Young CA 2017 after topping the leadership category for the 35 CAs Under 35 Awards. At the time, he was head of supply chain finance for Pladis UK and Ireland and interim CFO of Pladis North America. Now, following a promotion into the newly created role of Strategy and Transformation Director, he is now leading innovative initiatives at the global biscuit and confectionery company. Jonny is passionate about the development of fellow young professionals and growing as a leader to encourage the best from those around him. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome for Jonny Jacobs.
Thank you very much, Anton. Such, well, how do I follow that? I mean, such amazing people in all the categories, and it really is an incredible honour to be standing up here before you all. And just looking at that declaration, that was quite moving as well. So, really great. So I live down in London, and I love coming up to Edinburgh. I lived here for a few years. It's one of my favourite cities. And I hope all of you visiting here today get a chance to see this great city. But where I grew up was a little bit different, a little bit less salubrious, a bit more gritty in the south side of Glasgow. And to survive, I needed to be a little bit more entrepreneurial, shall we say. So, for example, when I was 10, I was a local marble kingpin in primary school. So if you needed marbles, small marbles, big marbles, you'd lost your marbles, you came to me. When I was 11 years old, I ran the local car wash company. And like many children, would knock on the door, would agree to wash somebody's car. I did things a little bit differently. I would employ the local kids, I would pay them £1, and I would walk away with a profit. And one day, I had a run-in with the local car wash union, actually, when my dedicated employees all went on strike. When they found out, obviously, I had a bit more pound notes in my pocket than them. And when I was 13 years old, I had my favourite job, which was working at the major ground in Scotland, at Parkhead, Ibrox and Hampden, selling football programmes. My dad ran the newspaper, the programme distribution, and I would start off with a small box of programmes, and at the end of the day, you'd have a few pound notes in your pocket, and you had to sell them really, really quickly before kick-off. And a few years later, I had a really, really big stall. You'd start the day, literally programmes up to here, and you had to sell them all by kick-off. Lots of pressure. I really, really enjoyed that. And my best ever deal was when I phoned up the guy at Arsenal, who was my dad's equivalent, and the Champions League was gripping the nation at the time. And I said, can I buy your leftover programmes? And I bought them for 20 pence, sold them for £2, and it's still the best margin business I'd ever been in. And despite being a little bit entrepreneurial, I wanted to go to university and have a solid career, and I was the first person in my family to go to uni. And being good with numbers and liking commerce and business, I decided to become an accountant, like many of you sat in this room today. And I followed quite a traditional route. I went to one of the big four, KPMG, a couple of roles in business. And I was so focused on being the best technical accountant I could be, being the best at my day job, getting everything right first time. And I lost a little bit of that kind of entrepreneurial side, the people side. I was the type of person that if somebody came to my desk, I'd have to talk to them, I had work to do, I'd be sitting there thinking I've just lost 2 minutes of my life. And actually, I had a real moment of realisation when I was at United Biscuits, the company I work for now, it's now called Pladis, and we did a Myers-Briggs style personality insight session. I'm not sure if many of you in the room will have done one of them. And in that moment, I found out something really, really important that I was red and I was blue, which meant I was really into the detail, and I was very headstrong, which I knew that one. And it gives you this massive self-awareness about who you are as a person, how you can interact with other people, and then how to see other people and interact and build relationships. And I took a step back. At that moment, I realised I'd spent so much time developing that left-hand side of my brain, the logical side and the analytical side, and I'd probably spent not enough time on my emotional intelligence, on relationships, on stakeholder management. And ultimately, in business, being an entrepreneur, it's all about getting deals done. It's all about people. So now I focus a lot of my personal development on really building that right-hand side of my brain, on thinking about relationships. I just encourage you all just to think about building that into your development going forward as well, because it's so incredibly important. And being a little bit entrepreneurial, I always like to look out for opportunities in the workplace, outside the workplace. I always just love getting involved in things. And I'd just like to share a bit of a story with you. It was Sunday morning, 5th of December, 2015. And I do what I normally do on a Sunday morning, sat on a sofa in my pajamas, eating my avocado and brown toast. And I got a call. I got a call from Dave, who is a financial controller at our McVitie's and Cars factory in Carlisle. And he had some devastating news to share. Storm Desmond had swept across Cumbria, and much of Carlisle had been wiped out. And our factory, the world's oldest biscuit factory, was 6 feet underwater. Just imagine that, 6 feet underwater. And clearly, we had a massive crisis on our hands. And being the financial controller of McVitie's at the time, I knew that this would really, really involve me, and I would have to really help with the recovery effort. So the first thing we did was arrange our Cobra style, sounds really exciting, our crisis instant management meeting, where all the heads of department get in the room and we work out how on earth are we going to recover a factory which is 6 feet underwater. It's 1/4 of our entire biscuit production in the UK. It's all worth over 100 million. It makes Prince Charles's favourite cracker, the appropriately named Carr's Table Water. And we had to recover it. It's so important. So the first thing, obviously, you do is you go up and you meet people, and you realise that that factory is so important for the fabric of that community. There are grandparents, parents, children all working there. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, we just raised a monument, actually, in commemoration of the world-famous cracker packers. These are people who have been packing, I can't even say it, packing biscuits for over 100 years. So it's really, really important. And my role was to run the end-to-end insurance claim process. And I decided that I would really take this opportunity to get involved and really learn as much as I could. And I got involved in all sorts of things, from operational issues, commercial, how do you get our products back on shelf, legal side, dealing with the insurers, communications people. And if you just imagine, I'm sat in the middle, and on one side, we have the loss adjusters and the forensic accountants of the insurers. And on the other side, we have our loss adjusters and our forensic accountants. And my CA training really came into the fore because we knew that everything we presented was going to be audited to death. So we knew we had to present things in a very structured, methodical, evidence-based approach. And because of the way we presented that information, the insurers were very quick to sign off all of our spend, and that absolutely helped recover that factory as quick as possible, because every minute counted. We had to get people in to recover, get rid of the debris and rebuild, and being able to work with our insurers that had that credibility was so important. And even just the dynamic of the room, because on one side you've got their loss adjusters that are clearly trying to minimise the value of the claim. It was worth tens of millions. And on the other side, of course, we were trying to get full recovery. So that tension, and how do you manage that conflict of interest when you're sat in the middle? And the CA training was just so incredibly important. So where did we get to? Well, within 3 months, we got biscuits made again, which was incredible. And the first thing that came off the line was my personal favourite, which is the McVitie's Gold Bar, great product. And it became the largest insurance claim of its kind in 2016, and it won many awards. And look, you would never wish for something like that to happen. This is a time that affected people, affected people's homes. Lucky all of our employees were safe. And you'd never wish for that, but it happened. And as Winston Churchill once said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And that's what you've got to do. In times of crisis, you can either protect your own normality, stay inside your box, or you can chase experiences and get stuck in, rip up your diary, rip up your work diary, your personal calendar, and get stuck in and chase experiences. And I would just encourage you all to really look out for these opportunities to get involved and operate out with your core role within finance. And being a little bit entrepreneurial, I always like to get involved in other things as well, and other agendas out with finance. And a really growing agenda in the world today, particularly in the UK and across the planet, is health and well-being, and that of mental health. I've been personally affected. I've seen the effects of mental health challenges, and it can have some quite devastating consequences. And it's big impact in the UK. And did you know, for example, that 1 in 3 UK sick notes is driven by a mental health issue? So if your sick pay bill is £20 million, we can all do the maths, you're all accountants, that's £7 million is driven by a mental health issue. That's why people are not coming into work. But not only is it an issue in business, it's a much bigger societal issue. And did you know, for example, that 1 in 4 people will suffer from depression in any given year? And in this room today, sadly, 2/3 of you, statistically, will suffer from a mental health issue in your lives. Really, really big statistic. And 1 in 8 people in Scotland actually take antidepressants every year. So when Pladis signed the Time for Change mental health pledge, I put my hand up and said I'd get involved. I would try and shape our health and well-being and our mental health initiatives to really try and cut the stigma across the UK and wider of the challenges it has, and also support people both in times of crisis and also to promote positive health and well-being. And I get a huge amount of satisfaction getting involved in something completely nothing to do with my day job, but something that is important to me and I think is a really important agenda. And I say to people in the teams that I work with, find your purpose. Think about why you come into work every day. Because if you don't have a purpose, it's very difficult to know the meaning. And without meaning, it's very difficult to be motivated. And without being motivated, it's very difficult to be great. And, so Brian spoke about the great achievements, and we all want to be great at what we do. And at Pladis, for example, our purpose is to bring happiness to the world with every bite, which I think is great. I love that. So really think about where you're at and get involved in things that really buys into your purpose, because then you can do really fantastic things. And you're all sat in this room, you're all incredibly smart people, and you've all worked so hard to get to this point. Really hard. I mean, I sat in this chair, I know exactly what it's like 12 years ago when I sat there. And I wish somebody had said to me a few things. And it is, chase those experiences where you can operate outside your core role and you can really get involved in things. And contribute to the wider agenda. Put your hand up. You're perfectly placed in the organisation to get involved in things. And for those of you that are entrepreneurial, get stuck in and get involved in things. And think about developing that right-hand side of your brain where you can really build those relationships, and that's how you get deals done. And find your purpose. Find out what it is deep inside you that gets you going. So please, everybody, do find your purpose and go on to be great. Thank you.
Well, Jonny. Okay.